How we doing, guys? Day 7. Been at this a week. It's probably tell I've been a little bit busy today. Knocked out a couple of the small boxes. Got a lot of stuff sorted. All sorts of stuff hanging around. Like, this is all Invasion. That's all Invasion. Tempest. Alara block. I don't have a lot of Alara block. I was in Iraq at the time, so I didn't get much of it. Most of it I got back actually. All sorts of crazy stuff here. This little section right here is all sorts of like really obscure stuff, like White Border with a Fallen Empire expansion. It came from some promo deck. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, put those aside in their own little category. But I'd just like to talk real briefly today about other CCGs. It's simply on account of the fact that, well, I've been magicking out for a week here, so I want to talk about this little one right here. The BattleTech game. Now, BattleTech's been around in various incarnations since the 80s. It's more or less a tabletop miniatures war game. I've never actually bought minis for it, but I've played tabletop with like cardboard cutouts and whatnot. And it's probably what you might call a medium depth tactical game. I mean, it doesn't get too in depth, but it's not light either. So, but and it's been around in various incarnations as well. I mean, there's the your tabletop BattleTech. There was, of course, the trading card game based on it. The various Mech Warrior and Mech Commander games, Mech Assault. There's also a freeware game called Mega Mech that is basically a Java-based recreation of tabletop BattleTech for the PC and Mac. And there's a lot of stuff out there for it. But the BattleTech card game was kind of interesting. I mean, you had your mechs, like here we have our good buddy the Zeus, the Hatchet Man. These are more or less the equivalent of your creatures in Magic. They didn't quite exactly have a casting cost. Yeah, that's not coming in too clear right there. But basically, for example, like, the Zeus, costs 4 to put together and an additional 3 if you don't have the assembly asset. And the Hatchet Man is 2 with an additional 3 if you don't have the assembly. Your, not asset, resource. Resource is what they called it. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Basically, it's like saying if you don't have what you need to put it together, you can still put it together anyway. It just costs you more. Then you had things like your mission cards. Look, it's Overrun. Does not give your creatures +3/+3 and trample to end of turn. Death from above. Your mission cards are more or less like instants in Magic. Then you have like Mech Warriors. They were basically kind of like creature enchantments. So yeah. Then of course you had your various support cards. These were effectively your lands. You got politics, and logistics, assembly, munitions, and here we have a cute little one called Karmstar Support. That basically when you drop it, when it comes into play, it becomes a support card of whatever type of your choice, which is kind of interesting. A little like Vesuva in a way. But I mean, yeah, it was an interesting little game. It was kind of it broke off. Well, it was made by Wizards of the Coast, under license from, I believe it was FASA Corporation still at the time. BattleTech's gone through a couple of owners over the years. I mean, they were originally published by FASA Corporation. FASA sold it off to WizKids and then closed its doors. WizKids, the makers of Mage Knight Rebellion, made the BattleTech Dark Age miniatures game based on BattleTech. Then they changed the name to Age of Destruction, I think it was. I didn't follow it too closely. I wasn't impressed by the game. Largely on account of the fact I found that the quality of the miniatures left a lot to be desired. I mean, there were several. I mean, I bought a few boxes of the minis, and there were like, how can I put this? Having bought fewer than maybe 4 or 5 boxes. I mean, just like a booster box of them, which is only like about that big. Comes with like a mech and some vehicles and some infantry. And after about 4 or 5 of them, getting 3 figures that were broken before I opened the box, I basically said, yeah, screw this. Which is a shame. But, yeah, I just figured I'd touch on another card game, just to switch things up a little bit. Played it a handful of times. It was an okay game. It was kind of interesting too, because it's like your life total was your deck, and enemies did damage to it. Damage to your deck basically was milling it. And I mean, there were a few interesting concepts. You could attack specific enemy units. So instead of like attacking your opponent's deck, you could attack individual mechs, which was kind of interesting. You could attack cards that were under construction. It was kind of like a weird version of Suspend, or combined with Echo, which is kind of funny because neither of those game mechanics in Magic the Gathering would come around for several years. No, I don't know about Echo, but definitely not Suspend. But yeah, so yay, screwing around with the Magic cards, talking about some BattleTech because I love me some giant robots. Oh well, catch you guys tomorrow. Be good.